All right, so just a couple of different options. You could make it in Rhino and bring it in if you want to. We can talk about that. But if you want to make it in Revit, I'll do a couple of different versions of it. First thing, make sure you have a ceiling plan. What I'm going to do is create this as a ceiling that's referenced and hosted on level one that's 9 foot 6 above it. So we need to be looking up instead of down like a regular ceiling plan. Sorry, like a regular floor plan, and the ceiling plans do that. If you need to make a ceiling plan, just go to your view and in the plans pull down, plan views pull down, there's reflected ceiling plan, and just make a reflected ceiling plan of whichever level you need. And so I'm in that reflected ceiling plan right now over here. Let's go ahead and go to 3D view over here so you can see it. So you would just do this as a component model in place. So for example, you would go to architecture, component, model in place, and you would pick ceilings. And I will just leave it at ceilings 1. And then that's, you would make an extrusion, and it's starting on level 1 because that's where we are in our ceiling plan, level 1. You can see it here, and I'm just having my extrusion start at 9 feet and end at 9 foot 6. You can change this afterwards if you want to, but then you just go and create an outline for whatever you want to extrude. So for example, I'll come in here and just maybe create an arc, right? So if I create that arc, I can then offset that arc by 1.5 inches. Then I just need to make a closed loop for it to work. So I'm just using the trim command and the line command here to finish this guy off. Right. And then if I do that and hit the big green check, you'll see if I come over here, it's creating that guy. And if I go to the south elevation, it's creating it, and go to wireframe here, it's creating it at that 9 foot 6. You can come in and adjust this, make it thicker, and you'll see it update over here, but I just put it in place beforehand. So you can do that, and then you could array this guy. So for example, I could then come in here and array it. Or actually, probably what I want to do first is put a material parameter on it. So I'll just go over here, pick it, go over here, and put a material parameter on it. I'll just call it ceiling mat. And I'll make it an instance so it'll show up in the properties dialog box. And then you could array it. So if you wanted it every 1 foot, you could array it and go to second and just come in and go 1. And then just give it a number like 20. Right, and then you'll get 20 of those. And it's going to tell you the array contains multiple things. You can do a nested and it would be more efficient, but just ignore that. And I'll just go in here and just put in 15. Now, once you have this array, if you want it to trim at certain places, it becomes a little bit of a pain in the butt. So for example, if I come in and let me just move this array, somewhere up here, maybe up a little bit more where we're kind of hitting it that way. And then let's go ahead and let's make it 20 again. Does that get us all the way? No, how about 25? So once you get to the point where you've got everything that you need, what you would have to do is come in and actually trim these out, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So if I ungroup these, so I'm windowing around and ungroup them, they turn into individual pieces, and I can come in and edit that extrusion. And then I can just draw a line. It's kind of annoying, but you draw a line from here to here and just trim this guy out, right? And do the same thing here. Again, it's a little annoying, right? Trim this guy out. And then delete that. And then delete that. And if I hit check, right now that guy is in there. I mean, you can try pulling these in, right? But they're not going to hit exactly. You could just pull them into the wall. So it just depends on how picky you want to be. Like if they're burying in the wall and that's good enough for you, this one we can probably just delete it, right? Delete that one. Then that's fine as well. And then we'll take another look, one final look at another option, right? Now this one's a little weirder, right? Because you'd have to come in and, I don't know, you'd have to trim those out, right? But once you hit finish model, you would have this guy sort of sitting as a ceiling inside. So let's say you wanted an incremental circle, right? Like one that starts at a circle in the middle and gets wider. Well, that is not the same, so you couldn't array that. What you would need to do in that case, architecture component model in place. I'll go to ceilings again, ceilings 2, and I'm just going to do an extrusion, and I'm going to find the center. I don't think it'll find the center of this. Let's see. Snap override center, it might. There it goes. So I'm just going to draw a circle. Let's say we want to start at 1 foot. And then I'm going to offset that. So I'll offset it by 1.5 inches again. And then I'll offset it by, let's do 1 foot. Right, and this is a little bit more tedious, right? Because you'll have to come back and sort of create the offsets individually, since it's, and you could just go until you got to the outside, right? It might take a while, but anyway, this is one way to do it. Now you could potentially do it in Grasshopper, right? But if you did that, let me come over here and sort of zoom out where you're seeing what I'm doing, right? It's doing the same 9'6". If I hit a big green check, you'll see that it actually gives you that guy as a solid piece, right? So that's kind of interesting, in that now you have this solid piece in here that's one piece, and you could do things like, oh, how about if I create an extrusion and I do a rectangle, I don't know. Actually, let's just do a line. Kind of does this. And that guy is sitting, right in there. Since it's one thing, you can come in and kind of change that to a void, and then you can cut from this one thing, that thing, right? And it'll cut through it. So it's possible you could actually, and then again, if I pick this and put a material parameter on it, finish that model. Now out in the regular model, I've got this guy. I can put a ceiling on that. I've got this guy. I can put a ceiling on that. Ooh, except I undid that void thing. It's annoying. But anyway, so those are kind of your two options, I think, within Revit. So let me know if that helps. If it doesn't, then, or if there's something more specific you need, let me know.